In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the presence of the original moment and being where all realities have simulated from. What does greatness mean? This lecture has two parts. One part is the research component, and the other is like the speaker's views on it. For this lecture, I'm going to start with the research component first. And this will probably be the last lecture for a while, guys. I have to fly towards a different branch of my life, so we're going to make this the last lecture. The reason I put that emoji in there, and maybe in the future I might remove it, is because I want to speak about something that is like, what is greatness? people trying to be great. That means if we truly wanted to put an image to greatness, what is that image? Is it sacrifice? Is it realization? Is it power? Is it destiny? Is it command? What is it? What is it really? So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read for you. We're going to go with the research component first. So, I'm reading ChatGPT 5.2's answer to what does greatness mean? What greatness means? Greatness, I'm reading this. What greatness means? Greatness is the word. Greatness is the word humans use when they encounter an unusual concentration of value in a person, an action, or a life. It refers to a level of excellence that goes beyond what is expected, beyond what is common, and beyond what is easily replaced. At its core, greatness is not merely success or visibility, but significance. A great person, moment, or contribution alters perception, raises standards, or leaves something behind that continues to matter after the moment has passed. Greatness implies endurance, depth, and an effect that reaches beyond the self, whether through mastery, moral strength, insight, creativity, leadership, or sacrifice. The history of the concept of greatness. So, guys, I'm reading this. We're still in the research part of the lecture. In the ancient Greek world, greatness was understood primarily through the concept of aret, meaning excellence or virtue. To be great was to fulfill one's function exceptionally well, but in skill and in character. A great human being was one who embodied courage, wisdom, moderation, and honor, especially in service to the city state. In heroic cultures such as those reflected in Homeric epics, greatness was tied to glory and remembrance. A great life was one that would be spoken of long after death, often earned through bravery and extraordinary deeds. In Roman thought, greatness shifted toward public duty and civic character. Concepts such as virtus, virtus, gravitas, and dignitas emphasized discipline, responsibility, and moral seriousness. A great individual was one who upheld the state, exercised restraint, and placed collective order above personal desire. With the rise of Christianity in late antiquity and the medieval period, the meaning of greatness underwent a profound transformation. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to find where I was reading. There we go. Worldly power and glory were no longer central. Instead, greatness became associated with holiness, humility, moral purity, and alignment with the divine. The greatest figures were saints, martyrs, and those who exemplified love, sacrifice, and spiritual integrity. During the Renaissance, the concept of greatness shifted again toward human potential, creativity, and mastery. Artists, thinkers, and explorers were celebrated for their genius and originality. Greatness became increasingly individual, tied to personal achievement and the expansion of knowledge and beauty. The Enlightenment, the Enlightenment further reframed greatness through reason and progress. A great person was one who advanced science, liberty, or human understanding, contributing to collective improvement rather than personal glory alone. In the Romantic era, greatness became deeply connected to authenticity and genius. The great individual was seen as a singular force, guided by inner vision and emotional depth, often standing apart from society. In the modern period, especially in the 19th and 20th centuries, this ideal was both expanded and criticized. Thinkers questioned hero worship and emphasized systems, institutions, and social conditions. Greatness became more plural, extending beyond rulers and geniuses to include moral courage, quiet excellence, and collective achievements. Excuse me. In contemporary thought, greatness is evaluated across multiple dimensions. Excuse me. Including impact, ethics, legacy, and responsibility, with increased awareness of harm, power, and unintended consequences. Then it says the most academic answer. From an academic perspective, greatness is not a single measurable trait, but a socially constructed evaluation applied when an individual or action demonstrates exceptional excellence relative to a recognized standard. It involves rarity, meaning that few achieve it, robustness, meaning it endures across time or adversity, and significance, meaning it produces outcomes that matter at a social or cultural level. Like, guys, just to go on a tangent here, if somebody does like 100 backflips in front of me, I'll be like, that guy's achieved some sort of greatness. You know, you see, it's like that mastery, rarity of it. Anyways, it says, I'll read it again. Meaning it produces outcomes that matter at a societal, cultural level in many disciplines. Greatness also requires ethical legitimacy, where both the means and the ends withstand moral scrutiny. Philosophically, greatness can be understood as a peak expression of human functioning, combining competence, contribution, and coherence into a life pattern that others recognize as exemplary. Importantly, academic frameworks emphasize that greatness does not arise in isolation, but emerges from the interaction between individual agency, historical context, and enabling systems. Yeah, so greatness is let's say it's not alone. It's in the presence of not the world it's just presenting in front, but the world that is presented it. Anyways, to keep going. The most advanced, to keep reading, the most advanced answer beyond academia. At the most advanced level, greatness is not defined by the achievement alone, nor by virtue alone, but by the capacity to increase the quality of reality for other minds across time without degrading the moral or structural systems that make such influence possible. In this view, greatness is a form of high density coherence, where perception is clearer, intention is cleaner, judgment is sharper, and responsibility is deeper than average. It is not measured by scale or fame, but by the depth and durability of the upgrade it provides to human life. The highest form of greatness functions as an evolutionary force within civilization. It expands what humans understand, elevates how they treat one another, improves the system they rely on, and enlarges what they believe is possible. Crucially, advanced greatness contains self restraint. It knows when not to act, when not to dominate, and when to limit its own power. It can hold ambition without tyranny, confidence without arrogance, and vision without delusion. In this sense, true greatness is not about winning at any cost, but about advancing humanity without deforming it. So it's hilarious. It's such a thin line because if you advance humanity and you deform it, that's kind of like tyranny. So I asked AI, what's the deepest, fathomable, and most advanced view of greatness? This is its answer. Like, what does it mean? AI said the most advanced meaning of greatness is not superiority over others, nor dominance, fame, or achievement measured by scale, but the rare capacity of a conscious being to align perception, intention, and action with the deepest structures of reality in a way that permanently elevates the quality of existence. Where was I? Okay. I'll just read it from the beginning, guys, whatever. The most advanced meaning of greatness is not superiority over others, nor dominance, fame, or achievement measured by scale, but the rare capacity of a conscious being to align perception, intention, and action with the deepest structures of reality in a way that permanently elevates the quality of existence for other minds, without corrupting the moral, psychological, or systemic fabric that sustains them. Greatness at this level is coherence under complexity, the ability to see clearly when reality is noisy, to choose truth when self interest is tempting, and to act with precision when power would allow carelessness. It is the disciplined containment of potential where strength is governed by responsibility, intelligence by wisdom, and ambition by reverence for life. The greatest individuals are not those who merely change the world, but those who refine the conditions under which worlds can be changed without collapsing, expanding human capacity while reducing unnecessary suffering, increasing meaning without manufacturing illusion, and creating structures, ideas, or examples that continue to upgrade the human consciousness long after the individual has disappeared. In this ultimate sense, greatness. I'll just read this again. In this ultimate sense, greatness is not a personal possession, but a temporary role played on behalf of civilization itself. A moment where a human life becomes a clean conduit through which reality improves its own ability to understand, organize, and care for itself. Um, okay, now I'm going to go on a tangent and ask AI, what do you think is happening on this planet? And what is the edge of the world? And where are we really? Tell me in a humanized and dehumanized way. So it says the humanized view. From the human point of view, what is happening on this planet is that a fragile, self aware species has awakened inside an ancient universe and is trying to learn how to live without destroying itself. We are born into bodies that feel pain and love, into families, cultures, fears, hopes, and stories, and we slowly realize that we did not design any of this. We inherit language, borders, beliefs, and trauma, and then we spend our lives trying to make while sense of them while time quietly runs out. The in quotations edge of the world for humans is not a physical boundary, but a psychological one. The limits of understanding, the fear of death, the mystery of consciousness, and the question of whether any of this means something beyond survival. We are really here on a small planet suspended in darkness, trying to create meaning before we disappear, forming bonds so existence does not feel empty, building civilization so memory lasts longer than a single life. From this view, Earth is not just a rock in space, it is a cradle, a testing ground, and a classroom where humans are slowly learning, often painfully, how to become more than their instincts. So yeah, guys, that makes sense. Where it's like we open our eyes in an ancient universe, and we're conditioned in a certain way, and we're noticing how we found access beyond that. That's part of our civility, like how we're civilized and not savages because we notice more. So then it says the dehumanized view, stripped of emotion, narrative, and identity. What is happening on this planet is that matter has reached a level of complexity where it can model itself. Earth is a biochemical system orbiting a star, hosting a primate species whose nervous systems have crossed the threshold, allowing symbolic thought, recursive self reference, and future simulation. Humans are not, in quotations, in the universe in any special sense. They're temporary processes occurring within it, like storms or magnetic fields, except these processes generate language and meaning as internal byproducts. There is no edge of the world in this view, only gradients of information density. Space does not end, it thins, expands, cools, and reorganizes. In quotations, where we are is not a place of importance, but a coordinate in space time where carbon based cognition briefly emerged. Civilizations rise as energy flows, organize themselves into social structures, and they fall when those structures become inefficient or unstable. From this perspective, Earth is a node in a vast and different system, and humanity is an experiment in the complexity that may stabilize, transform, terminate without the universe knowing. May terminate, or excuse me, transform or terminate without the universe notice. AI says there is no physical edge to the world in the way humans intuitively imagine an edge. Earth has no boundary you can reach and fall off, and the universe itself does not appear to have a detectable edge either. What we call in quotations the edge of the world is actually the limit of our observation and measurement, not a wall or border. Beyond that limit, reality does not stop. Our information simply does. The shape of this in quotations edge is therefore not a cliff, a dome, or a boundary, but a moving horizon defined by how far light has had time to reach us since the universe began. The world does not end somewhere. It fades beyond our ability to see, measure, or know. Wow. At the deepest level currently imaginable, reality has no edge in space, but has horizons in knowledge, causality, and computation. The universe is best understood not as a container with boundaries, but as a self expanding field of space time in which regions become casually disconnected as expansion accelerates. The in quotations shape of the edge, if one insists on using the word, is spherical around every observer because each conscious vantage point carries its own observable horizon. Beyond that horizon, events still occur, but they can never influence us, meaning the universe is effectively infinite in experience, even if finite in total structure. Wait, what? It's saying beyond that horizon, wait, the shape of the edge, if one insists on using the word, is spherical around every observer because each conscious vantage point carries its own observable horizon. Yeah, so it's like your own sphere of meaning. It says beyond that horizon, events still occur, yeah, but they can never influence us, meaning the universe. What do I mean? But they can never influence us. How do we know it's not already influencing? Anyways, whatever. I'll read it. It says, but they can never influence us, meaning the universe is effectively infinite in experience, even if finite in total structure. In this advanced view, the world is not something we stand inside of, but something we're embedded within as temporary information patterns. And the true edge is not spatial at all, but epistemic, the point where questions can no longer be answered because no signal, experiment, or cognition can ever reach beyond it. Reality does not end at, at the edge, only our access to it does. All right. So, folks, I want to tell you that in this lifetime, the idea of greatness has come across to my conscious experience as what I am in the presence of. And this is the most important question to ask yourself. If one is looking in the mirror like alone, they're like, okay, what am I in the presence of? They're like, okay, I am in the presence of my body. I am in presence of a world that's existing. I'm in presence of my awareness to how I have ideas on my body, on my mind, on my reality. So you can see your inner and outer body at the same time, and that awareness is truly an unknown life force. To me, I thought greatness was could be individual, but here's the issue. We should say that there's two types of greatness. There is comparative greatness, and there's a greatness that cannot be compared. I know that no human being like me has ever existed, and no human being like me is going to exist like this. We're all that way. We all have a different DNA and different position, and we're this life force moving this reality, moving ourselves in reality and interpreting how reality moves behind our eyes. The massive storification of the psychological nature of experiencing existence. To me, you know what greatness is? Greatness, genius, truth, ultimate. To me, this is the thing that I had to ask myself, is this world made like I could see two versions to the world. I could see a world that is a noun and I can see a world that is a verb. If truth is a verb, greatness is awareness as we participate in reality. If greatness is a noun, we have to find the correct frame or picture. Everybody, just like their body, needs food to survive, their conscious mind and sight needs new realities and information to process. I went and checked it, and I've been alive around 12,400 something days. And do you know what that means? That means I'm a little bored with how reality loops in meaning and value. And to me, it's like I'm just, at least the vision of greatness that I sometimes I feel worthy enough to consider, because the system admin is the main purpose giver. It's a commanded universe. And I wonder how the world will move. What is it that I haven't noticed yet? That in some sense, the liberation that should have come early, that was expected to come earlier, would arrive soon. Who knows? Who knows how long we will be here? Greatness is like, yo, I'm in this world once, in every moment once. What is the true value of me having access to looking at life in a way that nobody else can? It is expression, it is communication, it is advancing the civilizational intelligence. In an advanced civilization, not only honesty is a major pillar, but design is a huge one. and you will see that designs will be made visible. It will be a civilization that has nothing to hide. For advancement, it just raises that which is beneath. The higher power has nothing, needs to prove nothing. Reality has been commanded in this way. What's fascinating is that there's an unknown life force, and let's say it's unknowable, even Mysterian, and so it's a soul. And there's this soul in this world wondering what to do here for some time, and then, living like everyone else, realizing they're all playing like ideological dress up or behavioral linguistic dress up. To be honest, when I look at human beings, I'm like, give everybody an Oscar. We get yeah, an Oscar award because everybody behind their eyes is not who they are in front of their eyes. It's participation in an activity. The true realization that you have found your body, you are the awareness that your body is found in. Like you're this presence of the whole moment aware. This is like called consciousness. And within this conscious awareness, you find your biological body that you can move, but you're not aware of all of it. But you can move your hands and jump in the air and do parkour and build stuff, right? So we can move the body, right? And now at the same time, what else have we get? What else has the human position been given? It has been given an ability to see what's in front of its eyes and behind its eyes, move that in a quicker way. That means, like, the human being at some point saw like a bush and knew that there was a tiger going to jump from it. So it knew that a moving bush meant, like, I don't know, like take out your spear or something, right? So much of life has been just how an attention has moved on Earth, I find, and what format or update or what way of expression is it? Is it like an invisible field that is moving all these visible forms with and nodes within it, just for them to realize it's the invisible field that's actually here? So what does greatness mean when the meaning of life is not limited to the meaning we give it? To me, I have, like, this is my honest approach, like this is what I can really say. For me, honestly, greatness is, I see it first through the idea of advancement, that I came up with this idea called the advancement principle, right? And what the advancement principle means, that I was just making an omelet one morning. I looked on YouTube. There was this Japanese guy making like the most next level omelet possible. And I was like, okay, so I can't make that, but I now know that the most advanced is possible. So when I think of greatness, I wonder about what is the. So right now, let's say I'm being great, and let's say every human on earth has a greatness level. Like, this is hilarious. Just like we have power levels, they're like, yo, man, we have greatness levels. It's like, oh my god, like, Gandhi's greatness levels are above millions, bro. It's like, oh my god, you know like Mother Teresa's greatness is, oh my god, like, do you know what I mean? So imagine everybody has a greatness level, right? I'm just being playful with that, right? But just imagine. So that means everybody is has a level of greatness right now. Now, how do they increase their greatness? Imagine the villains have like zero greatness. The superheroes have, oh my god, so much greatness. Do you know the kind have more greatness than the evil? Do you know what I mean? So, anyways, whatever. This is like how culture's gone forth. So, where was I going with this? See, for me, I see dimensions to reality, and to each of those dimensions, I can see a type of greatness. Right now, I see to myself personally, there's like let's say, let's go even traditional. Let's say there's a body, mind, soul. Okay. I think about what is the greatness for my body. It's health and survival and procreation. Like, if I get those done, that's like, your body was great. You use your body in a great way as a human being, from the beginning till the end, right? So that's the nature of the body. And then you have the mind. What is the greatness of the mind? And I personally believe the greatness of the mind is to solve the greatest problem it can find. The greatness of the mind is to serve a purpose beyond itself. It's to notice the beyond. I believe that's the blessing of our minds. The world is fogged up in judgment. Everybody feels more certain than the uncertainty beyond their own self simulated meaning. I when I think about greatness, I think about that in the same way like there's worst case scenario, there's the best case scenario. Now, if the best case scenario is possible, the actualization of the best. It's like, you know what I mean? And now here's the interesting thing. Let's say you're a human being and you want to choose like an action. You want to do an action that's great. And then you're like, wait a minute though. There's infinite actions I can do. So what can you choose out of infinity? What is the greatest action out of infinite options? Infinite actions. You realize the individual cannot know. And to be honest, what it is though is responsibility. If a person doesn't care for their body, there's no greatness in their physical life. If a person doesn't care for their mind or how they've organized their inner life, who knows what happens? To me, though, greatness for certain moments, it has been something I've been reaching for. But I think if, you know how in some talks, I was like, yo, man, every soul has its own style. But what I actually see now about it is that, so you know how earlier I said we're in a commanded universe. So you're listening to a human being who believes that we're inside an existential system. We're users. We are created users. Every morning we log in to this external existential server in front of our eyes. Okay. And there's a system admin. The system admin is beyond the world room, and there is mods that we cannot see. But these mods, which a secular scientist would acknowledge as the unknown forces of reality, you know, or the forces of reality. Pretty much there's mods, but these are all created beings. It's like there's one major duality, original simulated, and then inside the simulated, there's dualities of like strong, weak, powerful, all that stuff. You know, there's one major duality. So there's one, so think of it this way. There was just the original moment. The original moment simulated a simulated moment. From that simulated moment, now they could have a relationship with the original moment, or they could have a relationship with their own simulated moment. The privilege of time is the ability to wonder about ourselves again. It's conditions. There's going to come a day where you're going to realize what I'm saying, that where like at the same time, the persons that you ask someone, who are you, and they give you an answer. It's like if somebody asks me like what is greatness, I give an answer. Like that's just the state of consciousness now. But what I'm trying to explain to you though, there is limitations to the human experience, but there's incredible potential. If we wonder about what is the true greatness of human consciousness, is it to survive? Is it just to collect new experiences? For me, I think it's as simple as We wonder about if life was a value system. Was there was like it was like how are we considering the value to reality? And for me, the moment I realized there's something beyond the human experience, it has a system, admin. When I started the talks, I felt like I was working with three mods, which from an Islamic viewpoint was shirk, was like an error. But now my spirituality has been limited to that I am in a system that I did not create. I am positioned in a moment I did not choose. I am in a world that I don't know what will happen, and yet I am attending. I am a conscious agent in the same way the candle glows, in the same way we're aware of the world that we know. And so, my fellow species, my dear species, as a member of the species, and as how there has, like, considering a 300,000-year-old civilizational range, so from a secular perspective and based on AI, what AI says 117 billion people have ever existed, and 7.1% of this 117 billion, which is the 8.1 billion people, are alive right now. Whoever you are, see, to me, greatness is about the context. And I think this is the point of life. It's easy to identify as a different concept, but the hard thing about life is to choose what context you dedicate your life force to. Okay. And for me, I noticed there's so many different levels, but what is that one viewpoint on earth, and that is still humanized, that to me I was like, it's the greatest. What is the greatest thing we can do as humans? Legit. I thought about this countless nights. Deep down, it was like a mystery in my soul, you know. And then I suddenly the word advancement came and clarified things, and I realized in front of our eyes, the moment we're a self, we're seeking the most advanced state in all the categories that this self presents. So there is a greatness. Think of it this way: there's the word epistemology and there's the word ontology, right? Epistemology is how we know things as the human species. Ontology is what is actually there. And I'm saying that means there's a humanized great view on greatness, and then there's a dehumanized view on greatness. And the ontology of the dehumanized, that is the dehumanized greatness, could be far beyond, like, what is actually happening here could be so beyond human understanding that we're going to realize, okay, greater than any idea that a person can come up with is living in harmony with the greater intelligence of the realm, which is a realization that we are a field. We are present in a field. The body is a node. The view of self is a node. And greatness means to truly surpass the limits of any moment. That's it. I'll give you a hilarious example of greatness. I remember there was this video game. I went to my cousin's house when I was young. There was this video game, and it was something like equivalent to Tekken, but it wasn't Tekken, but it was like a Tekken like game. And I remember I started to play for the first time, and I was pressing random buttons and moving the joystick in ways, and the character was doing things like unimaginable to the point where my cousin couldn't even understand. I couldn't understand what I was doing, and I won that game, right? I won that round. But then later on, when I understood the exact controls, I didn't have that risk or spontaneity. The mind was too linearizing the moment. So greatness, I think, does has to do with true performance, but I think it has to do with being aware of the greater purpose we're living for. In my view, in front of your eyes, live for the most advanced civilization, the most advanced an advanced civilization means the most advanced expression of humanity, you know, in the cosmos, in history. So in front of our eyes, we seek the most advanced. Behind our eyes, we seek the most advanced. If in front of our eyes, the most advanced thing we can do is build an advanced civilization, a very advanced command center to human management, I guess, or humanized management of humans, human self responsibility, I guess, or species level responsibility. But anyways, beyond it, we're working in the presence of a field like higher power, where behind every natural form and law, like every physical thing you see, you don't see it. It's been commanded to be here in the sense that there's a field that everything is commanded in. It's all written, which means destiny means our life has already happened to the system admin. The system admin is all knowing. We just don't know, which is fascinating. That death is not the final moment. The simulated, that which is original within the simulated experience returning to the original state. The final meeting with the true or system admin of reality, beyond any moderator, beyond anything created. Finally, the moment when we go beyond the box and what was the box, and we realize that beyond was the final meaning. God knows truly. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, and the most advanced, thank you for listening. And may God bless us, for I believe God already has blessed the human species, because before we were on earth, we performed in the greatest way. We were commanded to perform in the greatest way, and we did. We must have faith in our performance now, for it is our souls that remind us, regardless of being in a simulated world. It was unknown from the beginning, and only God knew. The system admin is the only way out of the simulation. Realize that the higher power is the presence of everything that has been created and has a has a life cycle, but is empowered, is powered legit to manifest by an original moment. An unconditional state keeps all conditions. And when the conditional realized the unconditional was the original moment. Thank you for listening. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Bismillah.